Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a new lecture in your course, Mastering Ansible by Avionics. My name is Ahmed and this is section 3 of your class. In this section we are going to explore the different modules that Ansible has for our convenience. And we are going to also explore the different ways in which you can run Ansible without using a playbook. So let's get started. Using Ansible without playbooks. In the previous section, we used Vagrant to provision the machine. We created a playbook and Vagrant did the rest. Although playbooks are an excellent way for managing multiple machines and storing configuration instructions, you are not obliged to use them whenever you want to use Ansible. We've previously seen how we can use a command like Ansible servers-a and then you give it a command like cat/etc/hosts to send what's called an ad hoc command to all nodes under the servers group. An ad hoc command is a command that is arbitrary, a command that is just a shell command surrounded by quotes and passed in to Ansible to run it on the remote machine. I am not using here a module like yum, for example, that we did use in previous lectures of this class. I'm just sending an ad hoc command. But you know by now that Ansible also uses modules to execute common tasks on the remote system. You already saw the yum module in the playbook used in last section. You can make Ansible use a module on the command line without a playbook like the following command. So, let's say for example that we want to install the HTTPD package or the Apache web server to all the nodes that are on our inventory. So here on our client machine that we have created in a previous lecture of this class, let's run the following command, Ansible. And then I'm going to pass this command to group that is called servers. Every node that is under this group is going to receive this command. And this time I'm going to use -b for become. And as we have discussed before, this means that I want Vagrant to assume the role of root by using sudo command, for example, when it attempts to execute this command against the remote server. Then -m for module. And the module that I'm intending to use is yum, and then -a, and -a is used to pass in the parameters needed by the module. In our case, we only need the name of the package, which is HTTPD, and also the state or the intended state that we want this package to be in, which is present. And it's worth noting that by default, the state is present. So if I omitted this part of the command, it will work as if I am intending to make this persistent or to make this present on the system. Pressing enter, as you can see, the results of the installation is successful. As you can see here, success here, and change it is true, and this is just the output of the command, the output of the yum command. And if you want to double check that your work is correct, let's have a look at the IP of servers. Okay, it's 192.168.33.20. And if you go to rpm-qa and then grep HTTPD, you'll find that it got installed successfully. Okay, so that is one way of executing Ansible commands on remote systems without having to use playbooks. And through the rest of this section, we are going to use this method to explore different modules that Ansible provides you with. In the next section, we are going to discuss in detail the playbooks. And within this class, we are going to build a project which is a LAMP stack. And a LAMP stack, if you haven't heard this term before, refers to Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And sometimes people refer to the P as Python or even Perl. But the most well-known phrase for this acronym is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And this is a very well-known development stack among PHP developers who work on Linux infrastructure. We already have a web server machine configured and have the Apache package installed. As a matter of fact, we do have now two servers with Apache installed. We have the web server, the machine that we have bootstrapped using Vagrant in the previous section, if you remember. And we also have the server machine, this machine that we have created at the very start of this class. And both of them now are having Apache. But we are going to use the web server as it is closer to being a web server. The host name is called a web server and the machine itself is called a web server, so it is more suitable for assuming this role, the role of a web server. And we are going to create another machine in our lab that will be holding our database, and we're going to call it database. Okay. And as a matter of fact, we are going to install MariaDB on the database machine, not the MySQL. And the difference between MariaDB and MySQL is mostly negligible. Actually, MariaDB is just a fork of the MySQL database. It has been created by a group of developers who quit MySQL. They used to work there and they quit when Oracle acquired the giant database vendor, and they feared that Oracle will not abide by the open source standards, or it is going to convert the product to a closed source one, like all the Oracle products, of course. So they decided to create a fork of MySQL database and call it MariaDB, and ensure that it's going to be always distributed as an open source product. Okay, aside from that, we are going to use MariaDB as the database, and we are going to put it on the database machine. As you can see here in this table, we are now going to be having 3 machines in our infrastructure or in our lab. The client machine, we already have that. The web server, or web server 1, if you are intending to add another web server, maybe have a load balancer for load balancing web traffic among both servers, and then a database server. Okay, so in order to do that, we'll have to use Ansible to deploy and configure MariaDB. So the first step in this lab is to deploy MariaDB on the database server, and that is going to be the starting topic of next lecture, so see you next.